Hi everyone. So this will be a bit different. I'm going to sketch today. So if you don't know, I have been trying to sketch for every day. I'm learning female anatomy, and I've been doing like a few sketches every day. One page of a sketch specifically. I have missed like 2 days, and I was supposed to I thought I would do this for like a whole month, but what ended up happening was, so this is 10th today. I was supposed to be doing this till 30th, but I think I'm getting a bit bored. So what I'm going to do instead is I will switch over to continuing my game design, and do this alternatively, maybe, or maybe I'll pick this up later. But for now I've thought that I'll make this today's session my last um, my last session of um, sketching. So I'll be sketching. This will probably be a much less talkative one, because when I work or something, I tend to just not talk apparently. So yeah. Anyways, so yeah, I'll start now. I just came from a shower, so my voice is a bit I don't know, weird. I just heard back my voice, but yeah. Okay. So I'll try to do this. So whenever I sketch, I try to do it like in a specific style, uh, so I can understand the shapes better. So right now I'm drawing very crude kind of shapes, which will have hopefully make my brain like understand when I'm supposed to be drawing or looking for which kind of shapes. I'm doing nude sketches. There's a series on YouTube actually, which is called Daily Life Drawing, and it's by a channel called the New Masters Academy. They have a series of these videos for both male and female, and both nude and non-nude models. So if you want to try it, feel free to do so. As I said before, I am more than happy to provide the links, but on Pillow Talk Audio you can't provide links to anything outside of scripts and sarcasm. I'm just trying to not have too much of the background audio come through. But yeah, so far I have been enjoying drawing. It's just a bit difficult to like keep the habit, but if I do start drawing, like if I sit down and I start it, it's pretty good. So for starts, I'll be drawing this one sketch multiple times. Also, I'll be posting these sketches to Reddit and my Instagram, both. So you can check them out if you want. But yeah, my Reddit is also linked on my Instagram if you have never seen it. I don't have any photos of my face, but only sketches so far, but I might post them someday. But yeah, so I've been struggling with drawing legs, arms especially. So I'm very good with drawing feet and hands, because when I was young I used to draw them in class or whatever, just bored. So I got habitual. I got accustomed to drawing them. So I understand how to draw them very well, like how to divide them in mentally divide them in parts. Ouch, that was loud. It doesn't seem like it got caught in the mic very well. But yeah, so I used to draw them. I used to draw hands, my own hands, a lot in classes, when teacher was teaching something and I was bored. So I got good at drawing them. So I'm not. So if you look at my drawings, I'm not really drawing feet and hands, putting any effort in them. The main thing for me is arms. The thing is that arms are kind of cylindrical. So when you draw it, you can't really tell that its shape, right? So for example, imagine drawing a sphere, like a ball, right? Not a beach ball, just a plain ball. Like if you just draw a circle, that doesn't really tell you that it's a sphere. So that's something I at least struggling with right now with arms, because they're also kind of like that. Like you can draw the basic shapes, but that doesn't convey the actual shape of what you're drawing. Today's model is quite what should I say? Not quite, but like a bit chubby, which looks very pretty. Like to draw, especially, it gives a bit of volume to every body part, which is good for learning. Yesterday's model was quite skinny, so this is a good what do you call it? Variety. But yeah, so I was finished one sketch. I'm pretty happy with it. Because I'm drawing at an angle, some of these tend to get a bit squished, but I'm focusing on the overall shape, so I'm not too bothered by that. Let's see. So again, a different posture this time. The arms, as usually, to me at least, a bit difficult because it's hard to capture their volume, girth well, like the places where they are curving. I am not sure. Is this count as pillow talk audio? Again, I would love to hear someone just talk over working or whatever. It gives that very summer kind of feeling to me, at least, where someone would be working and just talking in the background, and you're just laying down, reading a book or just sketching or something, just enjoying the weather. These models look very pretty. I know some people have insecurities about certain body parts being chubby or something like this. But let me just say this from all us guys that it we don't really judge that much when it comes to body parts. I personally think they look very pretty, no matter how, like, the it gives a uniqueness, a certain like odd attractiveness. Not odd in a bad way, but when you look at someone's body, especially like when you see real life people, right? I personally think that odd or unique features are more attractive than conventionally attractive features. And this is just personal opinion, obviously, but for example, one of my personal favorites is I don't know if it feels weird to call this favorite, but like large foreheads, like people who have slightly larger than average foreheads. There's a whole like episode on the sitcom Friends about this with Chandler, if you know this character. Um, he has this um, date, if I'm not wrong, with someone who has large forehead, and I personally find it very pretty. And there's a story. I don't know if I've said this before. I might have already like 3 or 4 times, but um, I we were going in like a. Have I said this before? Okay, whatever. I'll just repeat it, I guess. I'll just repeat it briefly. So what happened was we were in like a camp, basically a summer camp kind of thing, and we when coming back home, it was a camp where both girls and boys were there. Usually, when we have camps, both of us go to different schools or whatever, but this one was at the same place. So when we were coming back, there was some seating arrangement issues, and we were on train. It was like a 1 or 2 day trip, I think, on the train. So I think it was one night. So basically, for that night, one guy was quote unquote forced to sleep in the girls' cabin or whatever, and I, for some reason, all guys backed out. I'm not sure why, but I guess this is the cooties thing. I mean, we were like quite old at that time. I think I was in 10th grade, so I'm not sure if that's the reason. But guys were backed out of this, and I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, yeah, sure, everyone backed out as usually, so I'll just go ahead and agree to it. And when we were there, I like the girls were just looking at me weird, like I'm not weird in a bad way, but they were just like fascinated by me, and they were like asking me questions about. So they were playing a game or something, and they wanted to involve me very badly, and I just settled on talking, and we talked for a very long time. And one of the people who was talking to me had like a large forehead, so I blame her for this. But yeah, I think body parts, freckles, foreheads, weird noses, or something like this. Generally, I think people do get tend to get insecure about them, but I think people are attracted to them more in real life. But to consider, think about if your celebrity crush has some of those features. I would actually love to know if you have any such things. This is sketch, the one I was drawing right now. I want to draw this again in bit more anatomical style. So basically, I try to identify the parts and draw them individually. I didn't like. I mean, the first sketch looks nice, but I wanna do it once more just for my better understanding. So this will look worse, but should be a bit more anatomically accurate. And by worse, I just mean like there will be more lines. So it will be more what do you call it? Blocks and overwritings and whatnot. Oh yeah, I made an audio on. So I've been wanting to make an audio like this for quite some time now, which I uploaded a few days ago, which was basically two people meeting in a workplace, and one of them. I mean, obviously, this is just fan fiction for me, but if you heard it, let me know if you liked it or not. Um, I saw that not many people saw it on Reddit, which is fine. I don't really mind people not listening to those things. I get that some people are only here for the simpler stuff, but on YouTube, it got so many views. I was very surprised. Um, but yeah, I wonder if I continue this, how many people will enjoy it? Because that was just the first part. I was seeing actually so many creators. I think I mentioned it before, but so many creators were making Christmas themed audios and whatnot, and it was so nice to see. I think a lot of them made it beforehand and then just released it on Christmas, and it was super nice to see. Yeah, I think this is good. It's looking a bit, as I said, anatomically accurate. So that's good for me. I think I'll just stop at this, or maybe I should just finish this arm. I'm not doing the faces. So all the sketches I've done are purely just for the body. I'm not good at drawing faces either, but I will practice on them separately. So if you're wondering, I am doing this for a game. So I'm learning how to make art for it basically. The main character of my game is a girl, and when I was drawing, I realized that I knew this already, but I hope that it would be sufficient. But my art skills were not up to par, so I took a break from that, and now I'm doing this. So, okay, next one. By the way, in this oh my god, that must have been a loud clink. But yeah, so in this video that I'm watching for this these live models, so they're basically photos of models, and it gives you like a certain amount of time. So it will give you 2 minutes or 1 minute for each pose. You have to try that. I personally tried it, but I don't think I was able to get much value from it. So I decided to do it in my own pace. And this is just a reminder for any of you, if you are learning art or anything in general. When it comes to learning, I think the most important thing is whatever you are learning, you should be passionate about it. Then learning is generally something that happens with time, and everyone takes a different amount of time. So if you're slowly learning something, don't feel bad or push yourself too hard if you see other people doing it faster, because everyone takes their time, and it's much better to take your time and learn something slowly than to potentially rush yourself into learning something kind of half-hearted, because not only will it kind of take away whatever unique aspect you would bring to the thing you're learning from. For example, if you're learning art, for example, the whatever difficulties you'll face, you will integrate that in your art in a certain way. If you don't know, there's this artist. They used. I'm not sure if they are alive or not, but the artist who drew Spider-Man alongside Stan Lee, or was it Deadpool? I'm trying to remember the name. Let me look it up. Steve Ditko, was it? Let me search. Yeah, so it was Rob Liefeld. If I'm not wrong, Rob Liefeld was Deadpool. Yeah, so he made Deadpool with Fabian Nicieza, it says. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. But so Rob Liefeld or Rob L, they also I sometimes use they for some people, because older people, because in India we use a similar word, not they, but like a similar word in the meaning sense for older people out of respect. So sorry if that's something that bothers you. If that's something that bothers you. English is not my first language, if you couldn't tell. I don't really use that as an excuse too often, but yeah. Anyways, so Rob Liefeld used to draw his comics in a certain way, so that you couldn't see the feats of the characters, because he's notoriously bad at drawing feet. Now, if a comic artist is admitted like agreeably bad at drawing feats, I think you can be bad at drawing certain parts of the body and still be good. Because obviously he was a good artist. By no means he was a bad artist. I think he just didn't like drawing feats or something. But I think the journey, the hardships can bring a certain flavor to your art, but you have to understand to not try and match everyone else's speed. Obviously, challenging yourself is always good, but um, yeah. So, what was I saying? I remember I had one more interesting point, but I kind of forgot. But yeah, have your own pace of drawing and let yourself get accustomed to it. How whatever difficulties you face, usually bring in some interesting aspect, both in your drawing and in yourself. So you'll see yourself doing certain things to avoid certain things in terms of drawing, which can also reflect in your life. But okay, this one looks pretty good. Bit off on certain places, but I think this is pretty passable. I might do a slightly longer than usual session of drawing this time because this is my last. But, yeah. So this is from a back position. So I'm drawing the back of a character. I mean model. But yeah. Okay. It's very interesting to notice how breasts. I hope no one is finding this any sort of problematic, but um, drawing different, looking at different models and their breast sizes and shapes was very interesting because I mean it's not like this is my first time seeing them, but still, uh, when you have to draw them, you notice them much more kind of closely, and it's very interesting to see. For example, one thing I noticed is not all body types have so people in the same kind of body type. For example, skinny people can have very different looking. Should I say chest? Is that more posh? But yeah, they can have different sizes of breasts and different shapes, and yeah, it was very interesting to see. Obviously, the other body parts we see much more often, so we are more used to it. I am more used to it, but also the way they act under different um, situations. So basically, if you're laying down or if you're standing in a certain position, if one part of your chest is propped up, or if you are um, or if you're basically bent down so your breasts are hanging. I hope this is not bothering anyone. I'll just put tags, I suppose. But yeah, I should mention this. So I have a class going on right now, and there is a not right now, as in like literally right now. Like I have a class for a few weeks, which I'm attending, and in this class there's a very pretty person who I've been talking to a bit. Um, I'm trying to talk to her, at least. We have talked a bit, and she is like talking to me like in a very friendly way, and she's very pretty. Uh, I followed her on Instagram a few days ago. Like I sent a friend request or follow request. No wait, you don't send a follow request to a person whose account is public. I'm sorry, I don't use Instagram that much, but I just realized that I never sent her a follow request. I just followed her, and she followed me back actually. Um, but the reason I mentioned this was because this person wears shorts, and shorts are not that common for girls, especially to wear in India. It's not like no one wears them, but and I'm not talking about like booty shorts or anything. So So booty shorts are arguably much more common, but she was wearing like just normal shorts, like how do you say, boy shorts, I guess. And I don't, okay, I hope this is not inappropriate or anything, but I have been just like my, how do you even say this without sounding creepy? Um, her thighs are very pretty, is what I'm trying to say. Her thighs are very pretty, and she wears socks, and they are also very pretty. And I just catch myself staring at them randomly. I try not to stare too much, obviously, because it's rude to stare someone. But they have been living in my head rent free for some time now. Um, but yeah, it's like, is it I mean, I am assuming it is, but I'll still ask, have you guys in a class or something stared at a person? It would make me feel a bit better if you have. You don't have to reply or anything, but if you want to, please share. Because I know it's supposed to be like you're not supposed to stare at people in a class or something, but as I said, I try not to stare like blatantly. I try not to stare at all, but even when I do, I like not. I don't stare like just eyes open, mouth open, drooling. Sorry, but what I was trying to say is it? What do you think of it? I guess is my question. Like, do you think it is? Because I know, at least here, most people would find it very. Um, it depends on person to person. I, I mean, if a girl would be staring at me, I wouldn't mind it. Um, but I might be biased. Um, but yeah, as I said, I did try to talk to them, and to her, she's older than me, and she was very nice. We talked quite a lot about our work, mostly games and stuff, and yeah, we could have been in a group, but because me and my friend are, it was a bit complicated. There's not nothing interesting to explain in it, but basically, me and my friend were planning to not go in a group because it's like an uncredited group. I was so ready to ditch him completely to go in their group, but then I thought better of it and didn't. But yeah, so but still, we talked a bit like after she and her group gave the presentation of their project, their assignment. I went to her and I was like, I liked your presentation, and if you have, so they were doing something on cybersecurity, and I was like, if you wanna, I hope she's not listening to this, but I said, if you wanna want any like advice or anything on cybersecurity, do let me know. I have some knowledge on it. I'm not a cybersecurity expert or anything, but I have like passing knowledge on some of the stuff. It did feel like I would know more than them, and that's generally true for everyone, not just their team. But I have some extra knowledge on it because me and my friends used to want to become hackers. So when we were in school, like 11th or something, becoming a hacker used to be a very cool idea we had, and we would like search up these words. I was less into it than my friend was, and a classmate, I should say, but he used to be like searching up these words like DDoS attack and whatnot, and he did go somewhat far with it. But because of that, I also have some knowledge of it. And the thing is that hackers, in general, when it comes to real life, hackers are not going to be targeting you. For example, the people who will be targeting you are scammers, and it's pretty easy to avoid them. So as a general rule of thumb, never give any of your information to anyone without a reason. That includes your name. So your name is one of the most crucial little things that people very easily get. And the way they do it is they'll call you pretending that they are trying to talk to someone, and then they'll ask you, what's your name, who am I talking to? And naturally, if someone calls you and asks you, um, who am I talking to, you might say your name if you're not careful. And they'll just say, oh, I'm trying to talk to this person, and then they'll cut your call saying that, oh, it's a wrong number, I'm sorry, or whatever. But then they'll call you with a different number saying that I need to talk to this person, your bank account is this, your bank must have a problem or something like this. And here's where it gets tricky, because they called you with your name, you are more susceptible to falling in their trap, right? So, and this is something I realized seeing their patterns, right? Like there is a weirdly large number of people. There used to be a very large number of people who just started suddenly calling me and my mom, asking for our names, like wrong numbers. All of them wrong numbers. All of them would follow same similar pattern of asking, what who are you, instead of telling us that they want to talk to us. So if someone calls you with this and you are a person who picks up random calls, tell them, uh, who do you want to talk to, instead of just talking to them, instead of just telling your name. If they don't tell you something clear, or if they are adamant like, oh no, I need to know who you are, then you can just cut the call. So any bit of information you should never give out to anyone without a reason. It includes your phone number, address. I know people from other countries are more aware of these things, but in our country at least, people are much less aware, which makes them much more susceptible to problems like these. So yeah, once you know these basic things, right? And one more thing is, in your PC or whatever, um, no one can access it unless you give them access. And the way you can give them access unknowingly is by giving them, by clicking on a link or a software that sends information over to someone else. And on Mac, I think it should be much more difficult. Like, people on Mac should never get hacked, I think, because of the way it works. Same with iPhone, it should be much more difficult. Usually you are not getting hacked, you're just getting scammed. But for PC, viruses can be identified easily. So all you need to do is turn on file name extensions. So that will basically give you, uh, that will basically show you what each file's extension is. The reason you need to do it, and this is something I have done also, is you can create a virus, and I'll also explain what a virus exactly is and what it does. But you can create a virus and change its icon and name to something like a document file, and you can send it over to email or send it to someone's desktop or something. And when you double click it, it just shows you, if you don't have this extension on, it just shows you that it's a file, right? But as soon as you double click it, it will run that virus, and that's the only way the hacker, or whatever, I mean, I'm calling hacker in quotes, these people are just scammers, not hackers. But this will give them access to your computer data, or it will just lock your computer and then you have to pay them or whatever to fix it. First of all, a lot of these things can be avoided with antivirus. I personally don't use antivirus because, first of all, I am enough experienced with this kind of stuff that I don't need it. But also because antiviruses themselves can be very bad for your PC. Not for general people, but for me, because I do so much stuff. I play video games, I pirate them a lot. I use a lot of software that can be identified wrongly as a virus. Uh, but I have the skills, not skills, but the knowledge to identify them because of my experience. And don't be fooled into thinking that I'm very smart, and I just have gotten so many viruses and lost so much of my data through these things that I've just grown careful. But as I was saying, I have a good bit of chunk of experience with hacking. Sorry, viruses, that I can identify them. So for me, it's just a matter of being careful, right? And I would encourage people to do the same, but not without an antivirus, because especially for people who are new, it's very important to have that kind of security. But it is possible without an antivirus for sure. So going back to the thing, uh, a virus, basically what a virus can do, its possibilities are, it can read data on your computer, it can send that data over to someone else via internet, it can change data in your computer, it can lock your computer out. So for example, if your computer doesn't have and this applies to phones as well. When I'm saying computer, I basically mean any device. So if you have your bank account details on your computer, it can send that to a random person. The only thing is that they will need to find where that is. So this is why I recommend not having photos or text of related to your bank. So basically, any passwords, any photos of your, we have passbooks in India. I'm not sure what they have there. Any credit card photos, never have them in your phone. That's just a safe way of handling them. But yeah, so again, going back to viruses, they can do really bad things to them, but only if you run them. There is no virus that just stays in your computer and does something. So you have to activate it, and if you're careful enough, you will never activate one because you can always recognize. So as I was saying, you can turn on file extensions on PC. Again, Mac and iPhone users should have less of a problem with this, but you can turn on file extension on PC, and on Android it, I think by default, shows the file extensions and recognize which is an exe file. You need to be careful of exe file and I think VDB file or something. They're quite old. I don't think they are used anymore, but JS files. You need to be careful of these things. And once you are, you don't really need to be worried about hackers. The people who need to be worried about hackers are large companies, because their data gets stolen, and those hackers are actually the people who are uh, trying to who can actually cause damage, either financial or some other sort of damage. They generally are more inclined towards doing this for some monetary benefits, so other companies hiring such hackers. So I'm not very sure. These are kind of secretive organizations, and they're not as intimidating. These are still people who are taking treating this like a job, but these hackers are the ones who leak certain data from certain companies. So I think recently some multinational company, I'm saying multinational, I meant like a very big company, their data got leaked. And what, when I say data, I usually mean passwords, and in that actually my password also got leaked, so I had to change all of my passwords. And when this happens, right, this is the place where hackers directly influence and potentially hurt regular people who don't really have anything to do with these data companies or whatever. But the problem is that even when we know about this, we can't really do on our side. It is on the companies to do. But yeah, so again, going a bit back, when this happens to a company, their data. So basically, who uses their company services, what their passwords are on their websites, if there is any additional information, all of these things get leaked. So these are again company related things. You can't really do anything about it. What you can do is have a good two-factor authentication and passwords on all of your things. So I'll share my I'll share my. Actually, this is making me realize I forgot what my password is, but on one of the devices, I'll explain what exactly. But so my approach to this is that I have one password that I use for everything, like literally everything. Then I have one password. Then I, whenever I need to, so basically I have this one password which is very complicated. It's hard to remember, but I have a way of remembering it. I'll share that with you as well. So think of a phrase. For example, my old password used to be a new life. Then write this phrase in a certain way. So write this in, like, for example, I would write it capital A space NEW capital N, then a space, then life, and then an exclamation mark. Then change a few things. So for example, you can change one of the A's to an at. You can remove one of the spaces or replace it with an underscore. The life, the one I in the life can be replaced with the one. The E can be replaced with the 3. Once you have done these changes, remember that those changes, and there is a password. You don't really need to do this, in my opinion. If you just take 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and change one of them to a letter, not very obvious one, but for example, you change 3 to 8. That password alone is practically impossible to hack for anyone. Um, you can try it if you want. You can give a account to someone, post it on a website, Reddit or something, and say hack this, and see how many people struggle with such a simple sounding password. Unfortunately, a lot of websites don't let you put these passwords anymore. They'll ask you for like a stronger password or whatever. But yeah, so once you have one main, so I'm talking about myself. So I have one main password which I use for everything. Then comes the so these passwords I used on whatever main things I have. So for example, my main Gmail ID, my bank related stuff, my usually I keep bank related stuff even different. So I have a different password for my bank related stuff as well. But I can use that for that also. That won't make a difference. Then I have my YouTube, my Reddit. All these passwords are the same, and all these passwords are the one that I use on my Gmail. Then on any websites that I don't trust, I will use a separate password, and I'll use a password remembering feature for that. So I'll have, for example, I think I use Edge, but I think the same is on Chrome, where you will have like do you want me to remember this password thing? By that, Chrome will say, do you want me to remember this password? And you can press yes. So I think for those passwords, that's fine. We use it for everything. As I said, this is not something that can be leaked. This is on your PC, so you can feel safe about using them. But I mean, as long as you don't have any you don't press on any virus or anything. But yeah, going back to passwords. For anything that I am not sure of, that I feel like their security is not the best, their website security, I'll use a different password. I'll just make one up and use it. I don't have a particular password for that, because again it might get copied. So what, by the way, what hacking a big company does is it gives them a certain password, right? And what they will try and do is try that password everywhere. So they'll try and open every single one of your accounts, every single website with your Gmail on it. So if you use the same password everywhere, which is what happened to me. So one of my Gmail passwords got leaked, and I had to change my password everywhere. So everywhere I had to log out and do this process. Obviously, kind of a pain, but uh, I think it's fine for me at least. So I changed all of my passwords, and I think recently I had to do that again. I got a false alarm basically that a password has been leaked. So I went and changed my password, and now I changed it like very slightly, and now I can't change it back to the normal, because for whatever reason it doesn't let you change your password to a recently used password, which is insane to me. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, there's that. I hope something made sense when whatever I said. They were making on cybersecurity, and I was like, if you guys want me to say anything, I'll like give any advice, and I'll be happy. And she was like, yeah, sure, I'll let you know. But yeah, I also mentioned this because I've just been weird for a second. I'll be weird for another one. There's this girl There was this Comic Con going on, and one of my friends showed me this photo of a girl who looked super pretty in your cosplay, your from Spike's family, and I was like, her teeth look so good, and her teeth did look very good. She had like very those sharp like vampire like teeth, and we were in half a year or a year later. Me and my friend were in this Comic Con, and I see this girl smiling, and she has the exact same theme, and she's wearing a different cosplay. I can't tell if it's her, but I was like, I need to know, and I'm not a guy who can. I try and do this, going up to girls and talking to them, but I'm not someone who does this easily. Let alone asking someone if they are someone else from somewhere. But I went to her and I was like, okay, can I take a photo with you? And she was like, yeah, sure. Because this is what everyone was doing in Comic Con. So I went there and I took a photo. After taking the photo, I asked her, almost falling down to the ground because I was trembling so much. I asked her, are you the same person who did like your cosplay in Delhi? She was like, yes, I am. I was like, wow, I love that cosplay so much. Instead of saying, I love how you look. And she said, thank you. I said, and she herself, I think, said, mentioned her Instagram or something. And I said, oh yeah, I'll follow you, sure. And she showed me her Instagram. And so on her Instagram, if you go, you will see photos, and all of them, she has this stoic face. Like she's not smiling or anything. She has just a blank poker face, and all of them are. Okay, this is getting weirder and weirder, but all of them, her mouth is closed, so you can't really see her teeth. But the funniest thing is, if you go to her stories where she has taken photos with other people, like posing, right? So in all of her actual like posts, she's just posing for the camera with a certain pose. But in those photos, she's just smiling, right? And in all of them, you can just see her teeth out. Like I literally checked, not a single photo is one with mouth closed. She's just smiling everywhere, and her smile is just contagious. Every time you see it, I smile. I send her like nice comments every now and then on Instagram. She does very good cosplay. She does some very basic cosplays, and she also does some very effortful cosplays. So I would give her a shout out, but I can't because I don't think that's safe, I suppose. But yeah, she's very pretty. Anyways, one page of sketching is done. I know I said I might do more than one, but this was a bit tiring. Also talking at the same time. I might write a script next for the next part of the yours truly. I did realize later that yours truly, you don't put a comma in between, but okay, whatever. It's funny, but I guess I'll keep it. Yours truly. I was thinking it's more like yours, like I'm yours, and I'm truly yours. I should have researched more, I guess. Don't people also like just yours? Let me search. How do I search this? Yours at the end of a letter. Okay. If you use someone's name at the start, in with sincerely your, if you use dear sir or dear madam, and with yours truly, for that, bro. Can't you use just yours? Yours faithfully, yours sincerely. That's so funny. It says that on in UK you use yours faithfully, and on in America you use yours truly for unknown recipients, which is interesting. We here, I think you use. What do we use actually? Yours obediently. I remember we used to write essays, and we were told to use yours obediently or something like this. That's funny. But yeah. Anyways, I guess this is it for today. Hope you have a great day. Let me know if you found what I said weird. I'm always very conflicted about these things because there's no. I think one thing is that there's a bit of cultural differences, and the other thing is that there's a bit of lack of proper like guidelines on what is weird and what is not. But yeah, I try not to be too creepy in public. I try not to be creepy at all actually in public, as a matter of fact. Yeah, it's hard to not hard I guess, but it takes some like conscious effort to keep yourself in check. If you also don't know, I also have in the when I was younger, due to the way our country is, we have like a lot of films that promote not the best practices when it comes to approaching girls. Most of them involve stalking for some reason. I'm not sure why. So I have a bit of insecurity in this regard as well. But yeah. Um, Anyways, this is 10th of January, and I'll be doing the sketch from no more. I think from now on. Uh, and yeah. Also, if you have any requests or any ideas or anything, I'm always here to listen and try and do whatever you want to hear. So yeah, I want this to go on for a bit longer, but I have no idea. This is like when you're at a friend's house and you're like, supposed to go, but you don't really want to go, so you're just trying to delay it. But yeah, have a great day or night, week, year, month, everything. I'll leave. See ya. See you soon. Have a great day.